Mimi drove 385 kilometers in 3 hours and 30 minutes. If her entire journey took 5 hours to reach her destination, when she drove at the same speed, how many more kilometers, take note of the word more kilometers, she had to drive to reach her destination? So this question is on speed, distance and time. So let's look at how to do that. So we are given that the distance is equals to 385 kilometers and the time taken for driving this much of a journey is 3 hours and 30 minutes. So let's copy that down as 3 hours and 30 minutes, which is actually 3 hours and 30 minutes. Of course, we want to be consistent with the unit, so we don't want to have 2 units. So the 30 minutes we could convert it into hours as well. So 30 minutes would be 30 over 60 of an hour, because an hour has 60 minutes. So 30 minutes is half of the 60 minutes. So we could simply reduce that into half an hour. So 3 hours and plus another half an hour, we can total them together as 3.5 hours. Okay. So the total time taken for the journey is 3.5 hours. Now we would like to calculate what's the speed, and why is that necessary? Because if an entire journey took 5 hours to reach a destination, when she drove at the same speed, of course if we do not find what is that speed for which she drove the first 335 kilometers, we can't do the rest of the question. So therefore we're going to find what's the speed at which she was driving. So she managed to drive 385 kilometers in a time of 3.5 hours. So we would like to find the speed, that is, in 1 hour, what would be the distance that she could travel or she could reach. So distance, if we're going to divide that by time, that will give us what is the distance per unit time, which is what we call as a speed or distance in a 1 hour. Okay. So we took 385 kilometers, that was a distance she had traveled, and she had taken 3.5 hours to travel that. So we're going to divide by that, and that would give us 385. If we divide that by 3.5 or 3.5, that should give us 110 kilometers per hour. That was her speed. Okay, so we have already gotten what is her speed. So the total distance, because the entire journey took 5 hours. Okay, so what we are given in the first part is only for the first part of the journey. So her entire journey took 5 hours. So we're going to calculate now what's the total distance of the entire journey. So her speed, which was 110 kilometers per hour, that means every hour she was traveling 110 kilometers in a matter of 5 hours. So what would be the distance she would travel? So of course, to do that, we got to take the speed and multiply that by the time. So her speed is 110 kilometers per hour, because the question says the same speed, and the duration for which she has been traveling is 5 hours. Okay, so we're going to multiply that by 5, and therefore she has traveled a total distance of 550 kilometers. But is the question asking what's the total distance traveled? No, the question is saying how many more kilometers she needs to travel when she has already done 385 kilometers. So in order to determine how many more kilometers or the extra distance that she has to travel, would be to take the 550 kilometers, that would be the entire journey, and we're going to subtract away the 385 kilometers which she has already traveled, and that's going to give us 165 kilometers more is what she needs to travel in order to reach her destination.